Hey everyone, welcome back to the Foundations in Pre-Calculus 10 videos. In this video, we're going to look at Lesson 2 from Chapter 5, which is looking at properties of functions. So in this picture that we have here, this is what we call an arrow diagram, which is what we saw in the previous lesson. So an arrow diagram represents a relationship between two sets of data. So in our first one here, we're talking about the types of fruit, and it talks about what kind of association they have, which is the may have the color, and then it talks about, well, which colors can they actually be. So the first of the set of the first elements, be our left side here, is what we call the domain, and then our second set here represents something that we call the domain. And so a function is a special type of relationship where each element in the domain is associated with exactly one element in the range. And so essentially what that means is that when we're looking at an arrow diagram, there should only be one arrow going from your domain to your range. So we can say that this example is not a function because if we're looking at the set, our data value here, apple, you can see that it can be both green and red. So there's two arrows going from your domain. So that means that this is not a function. So looking at your first set here, you should only have one arrow going from each data value. So we can also represent the same situation in two different ways, and one where we do have a function, one where we do not. And sometimes just by switching up how they relate or which set comes first doesn't always mean that it's always going to be a function and then the other one won't be. It really depends on your data value, but in this particular situation, one will be a function, one won't be. So in our first arrow diagram, here we have the association of the number of wheels on a certain type of mode of transportation and what the actual type is. So here we have one tire or one wheel goes to a unicycle, two goes to a bicycle and a motorcycle, three goes to a tricycle, and four goes to a car. Looking at our second one here, now we've changed this up. So now we're looking at the type of vehicle first, or the type of transportation, and then comparing how many tires it has or how many wheels it has. So here we have a bicycle has 2, a car has 4, a motorcycle has 2, a tricycle has 3, and unicycle has 1. So if you notice here, these basically tell you the exact same thing, but in this case, our second arrow diagram here is a function because the domain or your first set of data only has one arrow going from each of those data values. So here we can say of the two, which is a function. So we could say that the second diagram is a function. And then for a reasoning, we can say because. So we can say each element in the first set associates with exactly one element in the second set. So I'm essentially going to repeat that definition of a function. All right, so just to go over that again. So here we can say that the second arrow diagram is a function because each element in the first set associates or pairs with exactly one element in the second set. So just in friendlier terms, we would essentially just say that there's only one arrow from each element in the first set. So it's not a function if we have more than one arrow coming from an element in the first set. So we need to make sure there's only one arrow in that first set, or what we call the domain. So that is everything for this video. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to come see me in class or text me on Remind 101. Thank you guys so much for watching.